In Japan, there are places where people still lower their voices when they speak certain names. Not because they believe the name itself has power, but because repeating it feels like an invitation. One of those names is Kuchisake-onna, the slit-mouthed woman. Her story does not begin with a scream, or a curse, or a ritual gone wrong. It begins with a question. Am I beautiful? If you hear it at night, on a quiet street, near a schoolyard, or at the edge of a residential neighborhood, the answer you give may not matter, because the question is not meant to be answered. It is meant to mark you. Most legends evolve over centuries, changing shape as they pass from generation to generation. Kuchisake-onna is different. She appears suddenly in history, fully formed, like something that stepped out of the dark already knowing exactly what it was. Reports of her began to spread in Japan during the late 1970s. Not as folklore, not as rumor, but as sightings. Children walking home from school described a tall woman wearing a surgical mask. She was well-dressed, quiet, polite. She would stop them and ask, calmly, almost kindly, "Watashi kirei? Am I beautiful?" At first, people laughed it off. Japan was no stranger to urban legends, and the idea of a masked woman frightening children felt like a prank, until schools began closing early, until police patrols increased, until parents started walking their children home in groups. Something about the story spread too fast, too consistently, and too widely to be dismissed as imagination. And the details never changed. The woman always wore a mask. She always carried a bladed object, scissors, a knife, sometimes a sickle, and if the victim answered incorrectly, she would remove the mask. Her mouth, they said, was split from ear to ear.
The origin of Kuchisake-onna is often traced back much further than the 1970s. Some versions place her in the Edo period. She was said to be the wife of a samurai, beautiful, vain, and unfaithful. When her husband discovered her betrayal, he punished her not with death, but with mutilation. He sliced her mouth open and asked her the same question she would one day ask others. Who will think you're beautiful now? In death, she did not fade. She returned, not as a demon in flames or shadows, but as something far worse. A woman who looked almost normal. That is what makes her terrifying. Kuchisake-onna does not lurk in forests or abandoned temples. She appears on streets people walk every day. She blends in. She is quiet. And she chooses her victims carefully. Children, teenagers, people walking alone. She does not chase. She does not announce herself. She waits for you to notice her. If you say yes, that she is beautiful, she removes her mask and asks again, and now? If you say no, she kills you immediately. If you say yes, she smiles, and then she makes you look like her. Some say there is no correct answer. Others claim there are ways to escape. Say she looks average. Throw candy at her. Distract her. But those are additions. Comforting lies we tell ourselves to believe there is a loophole. Because in the earliest versions of the legend, there is no escape. Only outcomes. What separates Kuchisake-onna from other urban legends is how deeply she embedded herself into real behavior. During the height of the panic in the late 1970s, schools across Japan implemented emergency protocols. Children were instructed never to walk alone. Neighborhood watches formed overnight. Police departments received hundreds of reports, not of attacks, but of sightings. A woman in a mask, standing still, watching. In some cases, adults reported seeing her too, always at night, always silent, always vanishing when approached. And then, just as suddenly as the sightings began, they stopped. No arrests were made. No attacker was ever identified. The story faded from headlines, but it never disappeared. It sank deeper.
Kuchisake-onna persists because she represents something very specific. She is not just a ghost. She is not just a vengeful spirit. She is a reflection of social fear. In Japan, masks are associated with illness, anonymity, and restraint. To wear one is to hide vulnerability. Kuchisake-onna weaponizes that. She hides a wound so extreme it should be impossible to conceal. And when she reveals it, The horror is not that she is monstrous. It is that she was once beautiful. The fear is not that she exists. The fear is that she was made. In many interpretations, Kuchisake-onna targets people who respond reflexively, those who answer without thinking. Her question is a trap, but also a test. Do you judge by appearance? Do you lie to avoid conflict? Do you answer quickly because silence feels dangerous? She punishes instinct. She punishes politeness. She punishes honesty. And in that way, she becomes inevitable. There are reports, even now, of people claiming to have seen her, always at night, always in peripheral vision. A woman standing too still, a mask where there shouldn't be one, a presence that feels wrong before it looks wrong. Some say she has evolved, that she now appears with long hair covering her face, that she no longer asks the question, that she simply follows. Others claim she can appear in reflections, store windows, mirrors, car windows at stoplights. If you meet her eyes, they say, she has already chosen you. Whether or not any of this is true almost doesn't matter, because the legend survives not through proof, but through behavior. Parents still warn their children. Schools still reference her during safety talks. And the question remains embedded in the culture. Am I beautiful? It's a question most people answer without thinking. Kuchisake-onna turns it into a sentence. There is no spectacle in her violence, no roar, no jump scare, only a quiet confrontation. One person, one question, one moment where the world seems to hold its breath, and then a choice you were never meant to survive. Because the most frightening thing about Kuchisake-onna is not that she kills, it's that she asks first. And if you're walking alone at night and someone behind you speaks softly, if you feel the hairs on your neck rise before you understand why, don't turn around, don't answer, and don't assume that silence is safer, because some legends don't need belief to exist. They only need to be remembered.
Thanks for staying with us as we have gone beyond the streetlight. Next time you venture out into the darkness, be wary of what might be waiting for you. Until then, sleep with the lights on. Scared of taking that unnecessary shortcut alone? Tell your friends to follow and hit subscribe for more.